Sister Mary arrived at St. Theresa's convent on a bright Monday morning. The sun was shining, and a cool breeze blew through the tall trees that lined the compound. She stood at the entrance, her small suitcase in one hand and her heart filled with excitement. This was the day she had been waiting for. The day she would dedicate her life fully to God. She had always dreamed of becoming a sister. Growing up in a small village, she had spent most of her time in church, listening to the priest and watching the sisters sing in their white robes. She admired their kindness, their discipline, and their devotion to God. It felt like they belonged to a world far purer than the one outside. Now, at just 19 years old, Sister Mary was finally stepping into that world. As she walked through the large wooden gates of St. Theresa's convent, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. The convent was beautiful, with its white walls and neatly trimmed gardens. The scent of fresh flowers filled the air, and the sound of birds singing made the place feel like heaven. An older sister, dressed in a long white habit, walked toward her with a warm smile. "Welcome, Sister Mary," she said kindly. "I am Mother Agnes, the head of the convent." Sister Mary bowed her head respectfully. "Thank you, Mother. I am happy to be here." Mother Agnes led her inside. The convent was just as beautiful on the inside as it was outside. The halls were quiet, the floors spotless, and the air carried the faint scent of burning candles. Other sisters passed by, nodding and smiling at Sister Mary. As she settled into her small room, Sister Mary felt a deep sense of joy. She knew she had made the right choice. She would spend her days in prayer, helping the needy, and growing in her faith. This was the life she had always wanted. But as she spent her first few days at the convent, she began to notice something strange. Two senior sisters, Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn, seemed different from the others. They were kind, but there was something secretive about them. They often whispered to each other and took long walks alone. Whenever Sister Mary looked at them, they seemed to be hiding something. She tried to ignore these thoughts. After all, she was new. Maybe she just didn't understand everything yet. St. Theresa's was a holy place. Surely, there was nothing to worry about. As weeks passed, Sister Mary settled into the convent's routine. She woke up early for morning prayers, helped in the kitchen, and spent hours studying the Bible. She found comfort in the peaceful life of the convent and grew close to some of the younger sisters. However, she could not ignore the unusual behavior of Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn. They were among the most respected sisters in the convent. Many admired them for their wisdom and dedication. They always led prayers, spoke kindly to everyone, and were seen as role models. But something did not feel right. Sister Mary noticed that they often left the convent on sick leave. At least twice a month, they would tell Mother Agnes that they needed to rest because of health issues. But strangely, they never looked sick. Each time they returned, they seemed refreshed and full of energy. Not weak or tired as one would expect from someone recovering from illness. One evening, Sister Mary sat in the courtyard, watching as Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn spoke in hushed tones. Sister Rita glanced around as if making sure no one was listening before whispering something to Sister Evelyn. A moment later, both of them burst into quiet laughter. Sister Mary felt a shiver run down her spine. What could they be talking about? What was so funny that they had to hide it? Again, she pushed the thoughts away. It was not her place to question her senior sisters. Maybe she was just imagining things, but deep inside, a small voice whispered, "Something is not right." One afternoon, Sister Mary was helping clean the rooms when she was assigned to Sister Evelyn's quarters. She knocked softly before entering. The room was simple, just like all the others. A wooden bed, a small table, and a wardrobe. The only difference was the faint scent of perfume in the air. It was unusual. The sisters were not supposed to wear perfumes. As she dusted the table, her hand accidentally knocked over a small wooden box. It fell to the floor, and the lid flew open. A small packet rolled out. Sister Mary bent down to pick it up, but when she saw what it was, her breath caught in her throat. It was an abortion pill. Her hands trembled as she stared at it. How could this be in a holy place like St. Theresa's convent? Abortion was a sin. The sisters had taken vows of purity. There was no reason for such a thing to be here. Her mind raced. Was it possible that Sister Evelyn had a secret life? That she had broken her vows? But how? When? Who was involved? Sister Mary's heart pounded as she quickly placed the packet back into the box and returned it to the table. She finished cleaning the room as fast as she could, but her mind was no longer at peace. That night, as she lay in her bed, she kept thinking about what she had found. If Sister Evelyn had an abortion pill, it meant she had been with a man. And if she had been with a man, it meant she had broken her sacred vows. Sister Mary knew she could not ignore this. She had to find out the truth. The night air was cool, and the convent was silent except for the occasional rustling of leaves outside. Sister Mary had just finished her prayers and was heading back to her small room when she heard voices coming from the hallway. She paused, recognizing the familiar voices of Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn. They were speaking in hushed tones, their words sharp and urgent. Curiosity got the best of her. Moving quietly, she stepped behind a pillar near the door of Sister Rita's room. She held her breath and listened to their discussion. This time, it was so difficult, Sister Rita whispered. I thought I wouldn't make it. Sister Evelyn sighed. I warned you, didn't I? You should have been more careful. I know, Sister Rita replied, her voice trembling. But I didn't expect it to happen again. The pain. It was unbearable. I had to go all the way to the city to get the pills. And even then, it took longer than before. Sister Mary felt her stomach twist. Pills? What were they talking about? Sister Evelyn lowered her voice. You're lucky no one noticed. If the Mother Agnes finds out, we're finished. We'll be disgraced. I just want to forget about it, Sister Rita murmured. I swear, this is the last time. Sister Evelyn chuckled bitterly. That's what you said last time. But we both know you like it raw and you are not always careful about it. Sister Mary covered her mouth to stop a gasp from escaping. What is Sister Evelyn talking about and what is Sister Rita trying to forget? The answer hit her like a hammer. She had been pregnant. The abortion pill in her drawer suddenly made sense. Sister Mary felt her knees weaken. This wasn't just an innocent secret. This was something dark, something forbidden. Her heart pounded as she slowly backed away from the door. If they caught her eavesdropping, she didn't know what they would do. Shaking, she hurried back to her room, locking the door behind her. She pressed her back against it, trying to steady her breathing. What had she just uncovered? Sister Mary could not sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard their voices again. The guilt, the fear, the betrayal, it was too much. She tossed and turned, wondering what she should do. By morning, she had made up her mind. She had to watch them closely. If they had broken their vows in such a terrible way, what else were they hiding? For the next few days, Sister Mary observed them carefully. She noted how Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn often whispered in corners, glancing around as if afraid someone would hear them. Sometimes, they disappeared for hours and returned looking exhausted. Then, one night, as Sister Mary went to the chapel for her midnight prayers, she noticed something strange. Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn were dressed in plain clothes, not their convent robes. They were sneaking out through the back gate. Her heart pounded. Where were they going in the middle of the night? She stepped behind a tree and watched as they hurried down the path leading away from the convent. Sister Mary bit her lip. Should I follow them? No, it was too risky. If they saw her, she wouldn't be able to explain herself. Instead, she waited until they were out of sight, then ran to their rooms. She searched through their belongings as quickly as she could. What she found made her blood run cold. Hidden beneath Sister Evelyn's pillow was a small purse filled with makeup and perfume. In Sister Rita's drawer, she found a folded dress, a stylish one that no real sister would ever wear. Tears burned in her eyes. They were living a double life. She said to herself. She carefully placed everything back and left the room. She returned to her bed but couldn't sleep. Every sound outside made her jump. What if they were doing something even worse than she imagined? The next morning, Sister Mary barely touched her breakfast. She kept stealing glances at Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn, who were eating as if nothing had happened. Their laughter filled the dining hall, but to Sister Mary, it sounded fake. How could they pretend so well? She clenched her fists. No. I can't just sit here. I find out everything they are doing. She spent the rest of the day thinking of a plan. If she followed them, she could finally uncover what they were really doing outside the convent. But she had to be careful. If they caught her, she would be in danger. That night, she pretended to go to bed early. But instead of sleeping, she lay awake, listening. Waiting, then, just as she suspected, she heard soft footsteps in the hallway. She quickly got up and peered through a crack in her door. Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn were sneaking out again. Sister Mary's heart pounded. This is my chance. She grabbed a scarf and wrapped it around her head, making sure she looked different. Then, as quietly as possible, she slipped out of her room and followed them at a distance. They left the convent and walked quickly toward the main road. A few minutes later, a car pulled up. The sisters got inside. Sister Mary's mouth fell open. Who were they meeting? She watched as the car disappeared down the road. Taking a deep breath, she turned and hurried back to the convent. She was ready to uncover the truth, no matter what it took. Sister Mary sat in the chapel, pretending to pray. Her hands were clasped together, her head bowed, but her mind was racing. She had seen enough to know that Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn were hiding something. And she was going to find out exactly what it is. At breakfast, she overheard them speaking in hushed tones. I told Mother Superior I'm feeling unwell, Sister Rita whispered. We have the whole week. Sister Evelyn nodded. Good. We'll leave right after morning prayers tomorrow. Sister Mary kept her face calm. But inside, her heart pounded. She had expected them to sneak out again, but now they were going on an official sick leave. That meant they would be gone for days. This was her chance. Immediately after the breakfast, Sister Mary hurried to Mother Agnes' office and told her that she was not feeling well and she needed a leave so she could go for medical checkup. The leave request was granted to her and she hurried back to her room immediately to prepare for the journey ahead. As soon as prayers ended the following morning, Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn packed small bags and left the convent. Sister Mary hurried to her room, grabbed a small bag and left the convent too. She kept her distance. Walking far behind them, her heart hammering in her chest. If they saw her, everything would be ruined. Finally, she reached the bus stop and saw them board a bus. She quickly entered another one, making sure to sit near the window where she could see them. The journey had begun. The bus rattled down the highway, moving past small villages and farms. Sister Mary kept her eyes on the road ahead, watching the bus that carried Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn. She didn't know exactly where they were going, but she had heard them mention Lagos once before. If that was their destination, she needed to get there first. When the bus reached a major town, the driver stopped to pick up more passengers. Sister Mary saw this as her chance. She quickly got down and found a smaller, faster bus heading straight to Lagos. She climbed in, her heart racing. The bus took off, speeding down the road. The wind blew against her face as she prayed she would reach Lagos before them. Hours later, she arrived. Lagos was big, noisy, and full of life. The streets were packed with cars, and people moved in all directions. She felt small in the middle of the city. But she had no time to waste. She went straight to the main bus park and waited. She found a corner where she could sit without being noticed. Minutes turned into an hour. Just when she began to wonder if she had made a mistake, she saw them. Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn stepped out of their bus, laughing as they pulled their bags along. But they looked different now. They had removed their head coverings, letting their hair fall loose. Their simple convent dresses were now covered by stylish jackets, and they looked nothing like nuns. Sister Mary's heart clenched. Carefully, she got up and followed them. Sister Mary trailed behind them as they walked through the busy streets. She kept her head low, pulling her scarf tighter around her face. After a few minutes, she saw them stop in front of a big, fancy hotel. The golden letters above the entrance read, Digital Palace Hotel. Sister Mary swallowed hard. This was not just any hotel. She had heard about this place before. It was known for luxury, for rich men and women looking for pleasure. Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn walked inside like they had been there many times before. A doorman greeted them, tipping his hat. Sister Mary hesitated. She couldn't walk in boldly like they did. She needed to be careful. She crossed the street and found a small cafe nearby. From the window, she had a clear view of the hotel entrance. She ordered a bottle of water and sat down. Minutes later, two well-dressed men arrived. They were tall, wearing expensive suits, and they walked into the hotel confidently. Sister Mary didn't have to wonder. These were the men Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn had come to meet. She felt her hands tighten around the bottle. She needed proof and she must get it. As night fell, Sister Mary left the cafe and moved into the hotel. She found a dark corner in the bar where she could sit without being seen. There they were, Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn, laughing and drinking with the men. They had changed into raving outfits that she nearly couldn't recognize them. Sister Mary's stomach twisted. These were the same women who led morning prayers, the same women who stood before the altar and sang hymns, and now, they were sipping wine, sitting on the laps of men and laughing. She quickly took out her small phone. It wasn't fancy, but it had a camera. She lifted it, her hands shaking, and snapped a picture, then another, and another. The men were whispering things into their ears. Sister Evelyn threw her head back, laughing as she took another sip of her drink. Sister Mary swallowed hard. She didn't know how far they would go, but she was going to find out. She just needed to wait. That night, she watched as the two men took them to their separate rooms and closed the door behind them. For 3 days, Sister Mary documented everything. She barely slept. She stayed near the hotel, watching and waiting. In daytime, she watched in disgust as they dress in bikinis and enter the swimming pool where men romanced and played naughty with them. Sister Mary felt her breath catch in her throat. She took out her phone and started recording. In the night, Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn would come down the hotel bar, dressed in expensive short gowns, meeting different men. They would drink, dance, and whisper things to each other and later retire inside their separate rooms, each with a man. Her hands trembled as she whispered a silent prayer. By the 3rd day, she had enough proof. She had pictures of them drinking. She had videos of them in the arms of men. She had recordings of them sneaking out of their rooms. This was no mistake. Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn were not just breaking their vows. They were living a double life. Sister Mary looked at the photos on her phone. She had to do something. She could not keep quiet. But what if they found out? She felt a cold chill run down her spine. She had evidence, but she was also in danger. She needed to be careful. She needed a plan. And most of all, she needed to survive. Sister Mary sat in the bus, her heart pounding as she clutched her small bag tightly. Inside the bag was her phone, filled with the shocking evidence she had gathered over the last 3 days. She had followed Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn from the hotel, keeping her distance as they checked out, laughing and whispering like old friends. They looked refreshed, satisfied, and completely unaware that someone had been watching their every move. Now, as they sat a few rows ahead of her on the bus back to the convent, Sister Mary's mind raced. Should she report them immediately? Or should she confront them first? She had disguised herself and made sure that none of them would recognize her. She glanced at them. They had removed their makeup and put their veils back on, slipping effortlessly into their roles as holy sisters. No one on this bus would ever suspect the kind of life they had been living in Lagos. Sister Mary clenched her fists. She had seen enough. She had proof. By the time the bus arrived at the convent, night had fallen. The air was cold, and the compound was silent except for the soft sound of crickets. The 3 sisters walked quietly into the building. Sister Rita stretched her arms and sighed. "Ah, it's good to be home. I feel much better now, don't you?" Sister Evelyn chuckled. "Yes, I do. A little break always helps." Sister Mary bit her lip. A little break? Was that what they called it? She watched as they headed to their rooms, completely unaware that their secrets were no longer safe. The next morning, Sister Mary woke up early. She had made her decision. She couldn't keep this to herself any longer. After morning prayers, she waited until most of the sisters had gone about their duties. Then, she walked straight to Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn's room and knocked on the door. "Come in," Sister Evelyn called. Sister Mary stepped inside and closed the door behind her. The 2 senior sisters were seated on their beds, reading. They looked up in surprise. Sister Rita frowned. "Is something wrong, Sister Mary?" Sister Mary took a deep breath. "Yes. Something is very wrong." Sister Evelyn exchanged a glance with Sister Rita. "What are you talking about?" Sister Mary pulled out her phone. "I know what you 2 did in Lagos." Silence. Then, Sister Rita laughed nervously. "Lagos? What do you mean?" Sister Mary's hands shook as she unlocked her phone and held it up for them to see. The screen lit up with clear photos of them drinking, laughing, and sitting close to men in the hotel bar. Sister Evelyn gasped. "What is this?" Sister Mary swiped to the next picture. Sister Rita dressed in bikini and swimming with me in a pool. Sister Rita shot up from her bed. Where did you get these?" "I followed you," Sister Mary said firmly. "I saw everything." Sister Evelyn's face turned pale. This is not real. You must have edited these. Sister Mary played a video. The voices of the two sisters filled the room. I told Mother Superior I'm feeling unwell. We have the whole week. Good. We'll leave right after morning prayers tomorrow. Sister Rita covered her mouth. Sister Evelyn dropped her book. There was no way to deny it now. Sister Mary crossed her arms. You are supposed to be women of God. But you have been sneaking out, drinking, fornicating and breaking your vows. Sister Rita sank onto the bed, her face filled with shock. Sister Evelyn started crying. Please. Sister Rita whispered. Please don't tell anyone about this. Sister Mary's chest tightened. These were not the same confident, bold women she had followed to Lagos. They looked afraid. Very afraid. Sister Evelyn fell to her knees, sobbing. We were weak. We made a mistake. Please, Sister Mary, have mercy on us. Sister Rita grabbed Sister Mary's hand. If Mother Superior finds out, we will be thrown out of the convent. We will be disgraced forever. Please, don't ruin us. Sister Mary felt a deep sadness in her heart. She had expected them to be angry, to try to defend themselves. But now, seeing them plead for mercy, she felt torn. They were sinners, yes. But should she destroy them completely? Sister Mary sighed. She had every right to report them, but what would that achieve? Would sending them away fix anything? She looked at their tear-streaked faces and made a decision. I will not tell Mother Superior, she said. But on one condition. They looked up at her, hope flickering in their eyes. You must change, she said firmly. You must never do this again. No more sneaking out, no more lies. You must truly live as sisters of God. Sister Rita nodded quickly. We promise. We swear, Sister Mary, we will never do it again. Sister Evelyn wiped her tears. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sister Mary stared at them. She wanted to believe them, but deep in her heart, a small voice whispered a warning. Could they really change, or were they just saying what she wanted to hear? She knew one thing for sure, she could never fully trust them again. She needed to be careful. With the evidence she has against them, she might not be safe. For the next few weeks, Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn became perfect sisters. They were the first to wake up for morning prayers, kneeling longer than anyone else. During meals, they ate quietly and humbly, avoiding their usual gossiping. They even volunteered for the hardest chores, sweeping the chapel, scrubbing the floors, and helping in the kitchen. Everyone in the convent noticed the change. Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn have truly been touched by God, one of the younger sisters whispered to Sister Mary one afternoon. Sister Mary only smiled, but inside, she was not convinced. She had been watching them carefully, and she knew all these acts were mere pretense. At first, it seemed like the two sisters were truly changing, but then, the cracks started to show. One evening, Sister Mary walked into the storage room and found an empty bottle of wine hidden under a cloth. Her heart skipped a beat. Alcohol was forbidden in the convent. Who had brought it in? She didn't have to guess. The next day, she noticed Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn sneaking into the chapel alone. Curious, she hid behind the door and listened. We have been good for too long, Sister Rita whispered. I know, Sister Evelyn replied. I feel like I'm going crazy. I need some fun. Sister Mary's stomach turned. She had given them a chance to change, but they were already slipping back. A week later, she saw them whispering to Mother Superior about another sick leave. Her hands clenched into fists. She knew what they were planning, and this time, she would not just sit and watch. That night, as Sister Mary was preparing for bed, there was a soft knock on her door. She hesitated. No one visited her this late. Slowly, she opened the door. Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn stood outside, smiling. Can we talk? Sister Rita asked sweetly. Sister Mary stepped aside and let them in. She did not trust them, but she wanted to hear what they had to say. Sister Evelyn closed the door and looked around as if checking if anyone was listening. Then, she pulled out a small brown envelope and placed it on Sister Mary's bed. We know you are a smart girl, Sister Mary, she said, smiling. And smart people always make smart decisions. Sister Mary frowned. What is this? Sister Rita sat down and pushed the envelope closer. Money, she said. A lot of it. Sister Mary's heart pounded. We want you to delete the evidence, Sister Evelyn continued. Destroy everything you have on us, and this money is yours. Sister Mary felt anger rise inside her. They thought she would betray her faith for money. She stood up sharply. I will never take your money, she said firmly. I am keeping the evidence for my own protection. I will not use it against you, but I will never destroy it. Sister Rita's smile faded. Sister Evelyn's hands tightened into fists. So that's how it is? Sister Rita said coldly. You would rather hold on to it and risk everything? Sister Mary stood her ground. Yes, she said. I will not change my mind. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then, without another word, the two senior sisters stood up and left. Sister Mary felt a chill as she watched them walk away. She had just made enemies out of them. And now, she knew they would not stop until they got what they wanted. After the failed bribe, Sister Mary felt a shift in the convent. The two sisters no longer pretended to be friendly. They stopped greeting her. They ignored her completely during meals. And sometimes, when she passed by, she could feel their eyes watching her, cold, calculating. One night, she woke up to a strange sound outside her window. She held her breath and listened, a soft whisper. A footstep. Fear gripped her chest. Someone was outside her room. Slowly, she crept to the window and peered outside. Her blood ran cold. A shadowy figure stood in the darkness, watching her window, the moment she moved. The figure quickly disappeared into the night. Sister Mary's hands trembled as she locked her window and backed away. She was not safe anymore. She knew Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn were getting desperate, and desperate people would do anything, even kill. Sister Rita paced back and forth in her room, her face twisted in frustration. She won't take the money, she hissed. She's too stubborn. Sister Evelyn sat on the edge of the bed, her arms folded. Then we have no choice, she said in a low voice. Sister Rita stopped pacing and stared at her. Are you suggesting we kill her? Sister Evelyn nodded slowly. Sister Rita swallowed. She had never thought it would come to this. But Sister Mary was a threat, one that could destroy them forever. That night, under the cover of darkness, the two sisters left the convent and traveled to a small village on the outskirts of town. There, they met with two dangerous men, known for their willingness to do anything for the right price. The men listened as Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn explained their problem. You want her gone? One of them asked, his voice rough. Sister Evelyn nodded. The man exchanged a look with his partner. It will cost you, he said. The sisters had already prepared the money. They handed over a thick envelope, and the men smirked. Consider it done, one of them said, but Sister Rita held up a hand. It must look like an accident. And you must steal all the evidence. The men nodded. We'll take care of it. Before leaving, the sisters gave them a pair of sisters' outfits. With these you will enter the convent without suspicion. Sister Rita said, Sister Mary had been on edge for days. She could feel something was wrong. The way Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn had been acting. The strange shadows near her room at night. The whispers that stopped when she entered a room. Something bad was about to happen. One evening, as she prayed alone in the chapel, she felt a sudden chill run down her spine. She looked around. The chapel was empty, but she had the strangest feeling that someone was watching her. Her heart pounded. She had to be careful. She had already taken some precautions. She had made copies of the evidence and hidden them in different places. She had also written a letter to the bishop directly, explaining everything. If anything happened to her, he would know the truth. What she didn't know was that her trap was already set. That night, Sister Mary sat in her room, her heart uneasy. She had been feeling watched all day. Everywhere she went, she sensed a dark presence lingering around her. She checked her door, making sure it was locked. As she sat on her bed, a strange feeling washed over her. A voice in her head whispered, "Be careful." She listened to her instincts. She moved a small wooden stool behind the door, a simple trick to alert her if anyone tried to enter. She didn't know that this small act would be the last defense she would ever make. The convent was silent. The only sounds were the faint chirping of crickets and the slow creak of wooden floors as two dark figures moved through the hallways. Dressed in Reverend Sisters' outfits, the murderers blended into the shadows as they crept toward Sister Mary's room. They reached her door and paused. One of them pulled out a small pin and carefully slid it into the door's keyhole, unlocking it without a sound. As they pushed the door open, the small wooden stool tipped over and crashed to the floor. Sister Mary woke up instantly. Her eyes darted to the door, where she saw two figures standing in the darkness. Her breath caught in her throat. She tried to scream, but one of the mercenaries lunged forward and covered her mouth with his hand. Her heart pounded wildly. She kicked and struggled, but they were too strong. One of them grabbed her arms. Pinning them down, Sister Mary fought with everything she had, but she was just one person, and they were two. The mercenaries tightened their grip around her neck, squeezing the life out of her. Her vision blurred, her chest burned as she struggled to breathe. Her fingers clawed at their hands, but her strength was fading fast. Then, everything went dark. Sister Mary was gone. The mercenaries let her body drop to the floor. One of them wiped his hands on his robe. "It's done," he muttered. The other quickly searched her room. They found her phone and her camera, where she had stored the original evidence. Satisfied, they grabbed the devices and left the room. 2 months after Sister Mary's tragic death and burial. Bishop Emmanuel sat in his study, flipping through the letters on his desk. Most of them were from different parishes, requests for prayers, reports from priests, and invitations to events. But one letter stood out. It had no name on the envelope, just the words, "To be opened after my death." The bishop frowned. Who had sent this? And why such a strange message? His fingers trembled slightly as he picked it up. The paper was worn, as if someone had held it for a long time before finally deciding to send it. Curiosity burned in his chest. He reached for his letter opener and carefully sliced through the top of the envelope. Inside was a stack of papers, neatly folded. He unfolded the first page and gasped. It was a letter from Sister Mary. Bishop Emmanuel's hands shook as he read the letter. "Your Grace," it began. "If you are reading this, it means I am no longer alive. I did not want it to end this way, but I knew my life was in danger." His breath caught in his throat. Sister Mary had feared for her life. He continued reading. His heart pounding, "I discovered something terrible. 2 of our senior sisters, Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn, have been living in sin. They have broken their vows in the worst ways possible. I gathered proof of their actions, but when they found out, they tried to silence me. If I am gone, it means they succeeded." The bishop's hands clenched into fists. This could not be true, could it? His eyes moved to the next page, where photos were attached. His face turned pale. In the pictures, Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn were in a hotel, drinking, smoking, and acting like ordinary women. Other photos showed them with men, laughing, embracing, swimming, entering hotel rooms together. Bishop Emmanuel's heart sank. The truth was undeniable. The next set of papers contained transcripts of conversations. Sister Mary had written down things she had overheard. There was even a record of an abortion pill found in one of their rooms. Then, at the bottom of the letter, Sister Mary had written one last message: "Your Grace, I did what was right. I only wanted to protect the convent. But I fear they will come for me. If anything happens to me, please do not let my death be in vain." Bishop Emmanuel slowly set the papers down. His heart was heavy, his mind was spinning. How had this happened right under his nose? Bishop Emmanuel leaned back in his chair, his eyes fixed on the ceiling. He had always seen Sister Mary as a quiet and obedient girl. She was young, full of faith, always eager to serve. Now, he realized that behind her gentle nature, she had carried a burden too heavy for one person to bear, and he had failed her. He rubbed a hand over his face. Sister Mary must have been terrified. She had come to the convent to dedicate her life to God, only to find corruption and betrayal among those she trusted the most. She had tried to fight it, alone. The bishop's heart ached. Why hadn't she come to him, or had she tried, and he simply didn't listen? His mind raced, searching for any memory of Sister Mary looking troubled. Trying to speak up, had there been signs? Had he dismissed her concerns as simple fears of a young, inexperienced sister? Now, she was gone. Murdered in cold blood, and 2 of his senior sisters were responsible. Bishop Emmanuel sat up straight, his eyes burning with determination. Sister Mary had asked him not to let her death be in vain. He would not fail her again. He reached for his phone and dialed a number. It was time to deliver justice. Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn arrived at the convent with bright smiles on their faces. They had taken sick leave as usual and had traveled to Lagos to have pleasures with men. Their trip to Lagos had been exciting. New men, expensive drinks, a luxury hotel. It was their first travel to Lagos since after the death of Sister Mary. As they walked through the convent gates, they felt victorious. "We did it," Sister Evelyn whispered. "She's gone. No one will ever know," Sister Rita chuckled. "We can finally relax." But as they stepped inside, something felt wrong. The convent was too quiet. Sisters who would usually greet them avoided eye contact. Some whispered to each other as they walked by. The air felt heavy, as if something terrible had happened. A deep unease settled in Sister Evelyn's chest. Do you think, she started, but Sister Rita waved her off. Stop worrying. No one knows anything, but as they reached their rooms, their confidence began to shake. There was an envelope waiting for them. It was from Bishop Emmanuel. Inside, there was a note, "Come to my office immediately." Their hands grew cold, their hearts pounded. Something was wrong. Very, very wrong. Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn walked into the bishop's office, forcing smiles on their faces. "Your Grace," Sister Rita said, "we just returned from—" "Sit down," the bishop interrupted. His face was stern, his eyes burned with anger and disappointment. Slowly, they took their seats. Then, the bishop placed a stack of papers and photographs in front of them. Their blood ran cold, the pictures of them drinking, smoking, laughing with men at the hotel, and then, the worst of all, Sister Mary's letter. Their bodies stiffened, their throats went dry. This is a lie." Sister Evelyn stammered. "Silence," the bishop thundered. Tears welled in his eyes, but his voice remained firm. "Sister Mary tried to save you. She gave you a chance to repent. And what did you do? You killed her." The sisters trembled. "Your Grace, please," but before they could say another word, the door burst open. 4 policemen stepped inside. One of them held a warrant. "Sister Rita. Sister Evelyn. You are under arrest for the murder of Sister Mary." Their eyes widened in horror. They turned to the bishop, begging silently for his mercy, but he looked away. Justice had come for them. As the officers placed handcuffs on their wrists, Sister Rita let out a scream. "No. No. This can't be happening." But it was, and there was no escape. The courtroom was packed, news of the murder had spread, and people wanted justice. The 2 sisters sat at the front, their faces pale with fear. The judge, a tall, serious man, looked down at them. As the trial began, the evidence was overwhelming: the photos, the videos, the letter. Witnesses from the convent testified about Sister Mary's fears, her quiet suffering, the way she had tried to stand against evil. The bishop himself spoke. "She came to us full of faith and goodness. She wanted to protect the convent. But these 2, they silenced her." Sister Rita and Sister Evelyn tried to deny everything. They cried, they begged, but the truth was too strong. The judge's voice rang through the silent courtroom. "For the murder of Sister Mary, you are sentenced to life imprisonment." A gasp filled the room. The sisters collapsed in their seats. It was over. Their double lives, their secrets, their freedom, all gone, forever. Bishop Emmanuel stood before the gathered sisters in the convent's main hall. His voice was heavy with emotion. "We failed Sister Mary." A hush fell over the room. "She saw the evil among us and tried to stop it. But we did not protect her. We must never let this happen again." The sisters bowed their heads. The bishop announced new rules: tighter security, regular spiritual guidance, no more unexplained leaves from the convent, no more secrets. A convent should be a place of holiness, not sin. "If we do not change, we will lose everything." There was silence. Then, one by one, the sisters nodded. They would honor Sister Mary's memory, and they would never allow such darkness to enter their home again. The sun shone brightly over the convent. The air was fresh, filled with hope. In the garden, a new statue had been placed. It was of Sister Mary. Her hands were clasped in prayer, her face gentle and kind, a reminder and a lesson, a tribute to her courage, her sacrifice, her faith. The sisters gathered around, whispering prayers. Bishop Emmanuel looked up at the sky. "Rest now, Sister Mary. Justice has been done." And as the wind blew softly through the trees, it almost felt as if her spirit was there, watching over them, protecting them forever. Thanks for watching that wonderful story. Please, like, comment and share. See you on the next one. Do not forget to subscribe. Bye.